Imagine you go to you're sitting on a plane and you have a window seat. You're happy. Doop doop doo. And here comes Beluga, and they gotta sit next to somebody. Oh, excuse me. Oh, just got back from my modeling shoot. Modeling? The fuck is the world coming to, bro? And then listen. I honestly I feel bad for them because then I don't feel bad. I take that back. Why the fuck would I say that? I don't feel bad. What you put in your mouth is controllable. If it wasn't 6X, I would be fine. 6XL? Are you kidding?
Local reparations program in about a dozen cities in the state of California have renewed hopes for an eventual national policy to compensate for slavery. But after decades of lobbying and 3 years of a national reckoning over race, Americans overall remain strongly opposed to the idea. Dang, that's actually kind of surprising. Actually, not really. Now that I think
strongly opposed to the idea of reparations.
Yeah.
It's a majority of Americans. Is that like what's like the sample? That's the thing. I want to see like who are they interviewing about?
Yeah,
that?
They didn't really put it in here. They're just being real general about it. But
majority of Americans in Iowa think that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, dog. They surveyed 500 people in freaking Wyoming. A controversial draft reparations proposal that includes a $5 million lump sum payment for each eligible black person could make San Francisco the first major U.S. city to fund reparations, though it faces a steep financial headwinds and blistering criticism from conservatives. I mean, obviously. Tuesday's meeting of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors will include a presentation by San Francisco's African American Reparations Advisory Committee, which released its draft report in December. The $5 million per person payment is among more than 100 recommendations ranging from offering grants to buy and maintain homes to exempting black businesses from paying taxes. An estimated 50,000 black people live in San Francisco, but it's not clear how many of them will be eligible for financial reparations. The recommendations lay out a number of possible criteria, such as living in San Francisco during a certain time period and descending from someone incarcerated for the police war on drugs, or having a descendant or being a descendant of someone who was a slave.
So they're addressing everything, like every single institutionalized discrimination against black people.
Yeah.
Surprising me about that is the crime thing. If you were institutionalized in like the war on drugs or whatever, war on black people, then you can get it too, which is wild. Cause like I don't know if y'all would have been made $5 million off of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if you would have been slavery, I understand, but fuck, bro. What do you think? Let me hear what you think first, because I'm still processing all that. I mean, honestly, your first opinion.
If they were more specific about it, I guess it makes sense. Like when they first introduced the 13th Amendment, the loophole in it was like you basically can't enslave anyone unless they've been charged with a crime. So after they abolished slavery, or they put that out there, and now they'll arrest a black person for littering or jaywalking. All right, bam, we can quote unquote enslave you now. And that, I feel, like started the cycle of, a father's not present. Well, it's because he's in jail because of the 13th Amendment or whatnot. And then that kind of rippled into, I mean, I guess now, so to speak. But that's not what they're focused on. If it's the war on drugs, I mean, I'm not a proponent of mass incarceration for people who are taking drugs if we're then going to go overseas to get somebody out in another country because they were taking drugs or whatnot. I feel like that's contradictory.
It's hypocrisy.
You're either going to punish it or you're not. And I mean, if you make it illegal, okay, well then it's illegal. Don't break the law. But then if you're going to like go to great lengths to get somebody else out in another country, that seems like a slap in the face to people who are incarcerated already for it. But
it is, but it's two separate things. We can do that, but another country can't do that to an American.
Yeah.
Only America can fuck over its own citizens. Russia can't fuck over Americans, bro. That's the American way. Only we get to fuck our own people.
Exactly, yeah. So, like, imagine being in a jail cell and seeing Brittany Griner come home for weed, in the lengths that it wasn't like Russia just said, all right, we're done holding her. No, we went to great lengths to get her back. And I'm not mad that she's back. It's just like, imagine being in an American prison for weed. and you see this woman come home, and she was locked up for marijuana to some degree. I'm like, how does that make sense?
They moved mountains to get her back,
yes, dog.
right?
Yeah,
yeah. So
literally.
That doesn't feel good. You're sitting there.
No,
It doesn't feel good at all.
So,
but it's like the motivation is different. I think it's like more of we can't let Russia take one of our star athletes and keep them prisoner, while we're sitting over here twiddling our thumbs, and we're supposed to be like the superpower of the world.
Yeah,
that looks bad politically. Looks weak if we let that happen. But now it also looks like we don't have our shit together and our priorities together.
No, we don't.
Because how you gonna sit here and, to your point, try so freaking hard to get this person back, yet when the situation or the conversation comes around about like decriminalizing marijuana, getting people out that have had like nonviolent crimes, we're like moving our feet slow as shit.
Of course.
You know, like that there needs to be some consistency in our approach to enforcing,
and the vice president that everybody looks up to now, I mean, she's had a hand to play in that at such a large scale.
Kamala? I haven't heard shit about her, bro. Like, she became vice president. I didn't do it. I haven't heard anything she's done.
Wonder why?
Like, I don't know what she's been doing.
She's waiting them out.
She's waiting them out to take over?
She's waiting them out. Yep. That's been my
Sleepy
call. That's been my call since she got in office. Is that they were jawing at each other, calling each other names, completely disagreeing with each other during the presidential race. Now, as soon as she loses and he needs a minority to make himself look better, now they're BFFs. I mean, I'm not saying
that's I agree with you saying. That's everything though. First of all, of course, Biden needed this person of color. You can't, you represent the Democratic Party. You can't be two white people running for it.
Yeah,
that's why Obama, he had to get Biden the same way. Obama was a black man, first black president ever, and there are a lot of Democrats that might have been a little bit on the fence about, well, I don't know, you're gonna go too crazy with the laws, blah blah blah. So you get Biden, who's been a career politician, who historically is very centralist, worked well across the table. He kind of balances Obama out, just like Kamala balances Biden out. So it was the same thing. They always do it. It's a political strategy, right? Because that's why the middle dictates who wins the election. Yeah, I don't gotta tell you that, right? So it's like if that's just smart politics.
Yeah, I mean,
it's smart politics, bro.
They got it in there, and
they had to do that.
Yeah. So, but like I said, I think she's waiting them out, honestly. But she's been so instrumental.
You think Kamala's plotting, low key?
Of course, yeah. It's politics, bro. They're not friends. They're only friends when it benefits them. I've said it before. These politicians, they get on TV and they argue to manipulate the masses into engaging in that type of behavior. But when the doors are closed, they're all buddy when their self-interests are involved, right? So if they can use each other to further their career, if they can use each other to see what kind of stocks they need to sell before the news hits the market, I mean, they're buddy, right? I don't know if you've ever seen like a court case like in person, but I attribute it to that, where like the prosecutor and the defense, they'll go up to the bench, they'll be, talking to the judge, whispering to him, and then they'll come back onto the floor and then they'll start arguing with each other. And I'm like, that's a crazy switch to turn on and off, where it's like you guys are up there and you're being real cordial, and then you come out here and now you're putting on this performative act to try to present this illusion that you guys hate each other so much. Nah, they are fooling everybody. And like I said, she's waiting, and like I see, she's fooled everybody too.
They're shaking hands behind the doors. They're bumping shoulders. They're going to the same dinner parties.
Of course,
same meetings. They have that correspondence dinner every year,
every year, bro.
Where they all get there and drink and laugh at the president and make fun of each other because they're like, ha ha ha, we got him again.
Straight up.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's that real talk. They do that.
Yeah.
But my mind instantly also goes to, I think about like sports. So when I was wrestling and shit, I would be cool, kind of cordial with the people I was wrestling against. Once we go on that mat, I flip the switch, bro. You're not my friend no more.
I remember that picture.
I put you on your body, on your head, put you on your neck. You know what I mean?
I remember that picture.
Somebody.
Bro standing over him.
He wasn't my friend after that. He wasn't. He wasn't. Sometimes you go too far and the beep is real. But other times it's just like, man, we both want to win. But in the day, it's like you're a person. I don't hate you. It's just like
exactly
we're going for the same goal.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get at your head. Boom, boom, boom. But there may come a time where, like, say the off season comes around and I want to get better. I'll train with you, get better with you. But when the season come back around, okay, now the performance comes back on.
Exactly.
Because there's a goal. There's a reason why. Like, they want to get whatever case it is, the defendant wants to win, attorney wants to win, same difference. Yeah, so it's interesting, man. We kind of diverted away from reparations, but like going back to that, the original reparation argument, right, was that the core of the argument is that America promised black people the mule and land.
40 acres.
40 acres and a mule, right? And that promise was never fulfilled. Started in Reconstruction, and then the Great Compromise happened, and it was just like, fuck all that Jim Crow, get back in your place type of deal.
Yeah.
Fucked, bro. Like, that's when everything kept going downhill. So the promises were never made true to us as citizens, right? Because at that, once Lincoln emancipated people, we did become, citizens, or at least not slaves, right?
Yeah.
So it's like something has to be done to make up for the lack of fulfillment of that promise.
But how do you quantify that? Because like it's such a the event is such a large. I mean, it's so massive. It seems like almost. It seems almost like it didn't even. It seems like not real. Like the scale at which this occurred, slavery, Jim Crow, segregation. It seems so massive that it's like it's something out of a movie. So, and like I said, reparations are not going to bring people back. Reparations is not going to undo what was. Essentially, you're just saying, hey, we apologize. We are descendants of white people, and we apologize to you descendants of these black people who were oppressed. But, I mean, there's 50 states. There's over 300 million people in this country. There's over 40 million black people in this country. There's a bunch of mixed people in this country. It's like, how do you quantify it? How do you put a plan into place? Because we can either sit around and wait for reparations, or we can preach personal responsibility, or we can preach community. But when they introduce a plan to pay $5 million to, citizens of this state or that state or whatnot, I mean, how realistic is that? How do you put that into action?
Well, first thing is who pays for it, right? Where's the money coming from? Did it say that?
It is. I mean, my assumption is that they're gonna print money, the value of it's gonna go down, or they're gonna raise taxes on something. That's the standard protocol. They didn't say it specifically because I don't think
taxes or printing it. That's what the two options are. So you take it from somebody else, or you print it out the air, which devalues everybody's money, which is taking it from somebody else.
Yeah.
So either way, reparations is taking from one group and giving to another based on the fucked up shit that happened to the other group in the past.
Exactly.
And it's like, do we want that to happen? Do we think that's right?
Do you think that's right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
How so?
Something has to happen. I'm not saying it has to be exactly what that plan detailed out. I think that plan was more of like a political statement than anything else. Because there's no way in hell it's going to get passed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What person in their right mind that's like not black would want that to happen? You know what I mean? Just like you take the ideology out of it, take the feelings out of it, take what's quote unquote right or wrong out of it. Because I think if you act like what's right or wrong, it's a clear answer. Like something has to happen, right? Mm-hmm. But you think about economically, that's not going to feel good to see people just be essentially in your mind given money.
Yeah.
That's not going to, nobody's going to vote for that. It's very rare people will vote to have money taken out of their pocket and handed to somebody else, especially if they don't like really know the person or like the person.
Yeah.
We can't even get universal health care passed for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's like something that will help everybody out. If you're sick and you're injured, well, you better have some money, otherwise you're not gonna get no treatment. You know what I mean? Something like that. So if we're arguing still about that, the odds of reparations getting passed for a minority group that has been historically oppressed is significantly low. It's possible, but it's low probability, right?
Yeah.
I think what's more likely to happen, or like if you ask me, like, okay, Julian, how would you go about instituting reparations, and what's something that could actually benefit it? Because you told me before you don't think the direct check would do anything.
No, I think it's a horrible idea.
I think it's a horrible idea.
Absolutely.
We saw stimulus checks happen that like didn't really do anything. All the money went right back to the top.
Yeah, exactly. More debt.
Yeah, more debt.
Inflation.
$5 million is big different than $1,200, right? That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
If you fuck off $5 million, I don't want to hear shit else about anything else, bro. Like, if you fuck off $5 million, I don't want to hear anything else about any type of oppression, because like you just fucked up, bro.
Think about lotto winners. It ain't like there's a
that's a good point.
A flurry of lotto winners are balling with major investments, and they're a lot of them get it and then they blow it. So what's the difference, right? I mean, this is not the same as hitting the lottery, but so to speak, you didn't know what family you were gonna be born into. Mm-hmm. You're born black, and now you get $5 million, and it's like, well, dang, I indirectly hit the lottery, unfortunately, off the backs of something that was horrible, but still, I'm getting, if it were to go through, I'm getting $5 million. I mean, but if I'm not taught how to use that, if I'm not taught how to invest it, if I'm not taught how to make it work for me, I'm no different than someone who just won the jackpot and is now probably going to blow through that mug.
Yeah. So I think that's a big thing, too. We're talking about like financial education, right?
Yeah.
Being smart with your money.
You can't manage $5. You're not going to be able to manage $5 million.
Exactly. 100%. 100%. You're just going to spend it on more expensive, dumb things.
Exactly. The spending habits will go up with your income increasing.
Buy more expensive shit.
Yeah. Like things don't change you. It's like a relationship. If you're a certain way, getting a new girl, she's not going to change who you are. If you don't address the issues that's inside of you, you're going to F that relationship up too.
Unless you get whipped, you start doing whatever she says.
Basically.
Then that's two bad options. It's almost worse.
Yeah, exactly. So
if you be a piece of shit on your own. Don't let
her. Exactly.
Don't become her piece of shit. But to your point, man, like we were trying to ask me about like what the right thing to do is. There's two reasons why I would say reparations need to happen. Number one, I think it would be significant in American history as like a great atonement for the sins of the past. And that would help us finally get over things as far as like the racial divide. Because a lot of white people genuinely feel bad about what happened in the past. Some white people be like, fuck it, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. And majority of black people like have tremendous resentment towards the country in that way because of what happened. And I don't think that the direct stimulus is the option. So that's number one. Number one, I think we need as a country as a whole to get past it, man. Because it's never really been addressed and atoned for. It's more just been like, well, we're not going to fuck you over as much anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know we fucked you over for the last 400 years, but at least now we're fucking you a little bit less. Like, no, bro, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like somebody beating your ass and then saying, okay, now I'm done. Say thank you. Like, whip my ass for 40 years. I can't even get like some ice from you. Know what I mean? I can't get no. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. So that's point number one. I think it would heal some of the culture, and that's idealistic because it could just tear everything apart. Secondly, my second point I'm going to make is that direct stimulus is not the answer, but they had the right idea with the 40 acres and a mule. I think now you need to give people land and give them a 0% interest loan, 0% interest, 10-year loan to do something with it.
Yeah.
And it's an optional loan, right? So you either take the loan or you opt out for some sort of cash payout, right? And it's not $5 million. Maybe it's like $100,000, $50,000. You know what I mean? Something that you can use and be cool with that. Or you take that business loan, right? You know, you feel me now? Remember that point about cashing out.
Okay.
So you take the business loan, and for the entrepreneurs out there, and we know our generation is super entrepreneurial, they can use that money to either invest in some real estate, invest in a corporation, invest in a business idea, technology, invest that in an existing business. And the people that cashed out, all these new businesses that need funding, now you have an economic base to support the people that have the ideas for the new business.
That's actually a good idea.
Now, all this creates an ecosystem of prosperity, a new focus, you know, something that people can look to and have a dream behind, like, okay, boom, I can get behind this, right?
Yeah.
So people need to be told a story, and that's a story people can get behind, you know?
Yeah.
I think that will solve a lot of problems because not only is that going to benefit the black community, but that is going to increase, you know, America as a whole.
Yeah.
You know, we're like only as good as your poorest people, right? And like nobody, the most impoverished race is black Americans.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea simply because it's not like hey, we're sorry, here's some money and then go F off basically. Because what I've heard this before, I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it's like you can give a man a fish or you can teach him. Right. You teach him, he might not be happy with it because he's not being given it directly, but he'll thank you for it in the end because he now has the skill that he doesn't need you anymore. And that's the thing is if you look at who runs this country, right? Objectively, it can still be seen as white people, right? The vast majority of politicians are white, right? The vast majority of business owners are most likely white. So the vast majority, like we look at sports, all these athletes are black, but the the team owners are white. A lot of the executives, the vast majority of them are white. So, in a way, a lot of black people still answer to the white man, right? They hate him so much, but they kind of still answer to him. So, if you're not lobbying for, hey, teach me how to do this, because there are good white people out there who want to, I guess, atone or at least move the country forward, regardless if they feel like they're responsible in some way or not, directly or indirectly. They at least want to move it forward, right? And economics, in my opinion, is the root of all that. The world is one big business, and if that mug is booming, people are chilling. Right. I told somebody this before. I'm like, dog, if you were walking down the street and I jumped out of the bushes and I called you the N-word, would you be pissed? Probably. But if you woke up that morning and $1 million fell from the sky and to your lap, and you're walking down the street, you're happy as can be, I jump out of the bushes, I call you the N-word, you're not even probably going to hear me.
Probably just laugh it off.
Exactly.
Like
I got $1 million, so
just
why do I need
away.
to be pissed? Yeah. So, bro, economics is the root of it. And if you teach people how to like use the money, if you teach people skills, if you teach them how to make it work for them, that is a lot more prosperous than if you just give them some money. Honestly, if you look at how the country works now, a lot of people work in either jobs they don't like or minimum wage jobs or whatnot. Honestly, those aren't even the worst situations that they could be in. A lot of these jobs are not bad paying jobs, so to speak. You can go to a fast food restaurant, make $15 an hour. Ideally, it's not that bad of a job. But if you don't put your money in the right places, that $15 an hour is going to feel pitiful. You're going to be like, I can't live off of this. And yeah, with the cost of living going up, it's harder to, but it's not impossible if you know how to make it work for you. But we weren't taught that in school. We weren't taught that growing up, that, hey, you can invest your money. No, it was...
Of course we weren't. Why would we be taught that?
Of course that. Because, bro, it's the system. And they're playing the game and they're playing it well. They got it on lock. But there are black people who have made it and they've seen the light. So I feel like it's their duty to put that narrative out there that, hey, I'm not just going to take my money and run and go home or go to live in Beverly Hills now because I made it out. No, I'm going to go to the mountains and I'm going to scream to black people that, hey, I made it and I've put my money in good spots now. Here's how you do it. There's such a lack of that because it's like, okay, I made it out. Now I'm going to go F off now. I got my money. I'm good. Right. I feel like we don't have a sense of community, like maybe, the next group over or something like that. So, I mean, at times it can seem like black people are just kind of fending for themselves, where it's like, I just kind of I got to make it out. I got to figure it out. And once I'm out, I'm good. Everybody else can, they can see me never because I'm effing off. So the problem is that you give individual people direct payments. I mean, I don't care what the perception looks like or how I say it. It's going to be a horrible idea because people, not all, but the vast majority of people, just by looking at patterns and historical context, they're going to run through it. They're going to blow it on stuff that they do not need. A lot of the marketing that's out there for certain products, a lot of them are catered to black people because of how much money we spend yearly on these companies. We don't need designer clothes. We don't need fancy this or fancy that. Not saying that black people are the only people who buy those things, but we're the number one consumer in this country for a lot of stuff, a lot of unnecessary stuff.
Why?
In my opinion, is rooted in an unintentional form of insecurity. So we have been brought to this country and black people have been enslaved. And to them, they believe they are led, not even led to believe, because that was the truth, that white people do not care about your life. That was the reality. Now we're no longer like physically enslaved, but there's still this idea that black people have to prove themselves to the white man. You go into a space and you're a black person surrounded by white people. Okay, I got to do twice as much to prove that I belong here. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. Right? If we're being fed a lot of information, people might go into a situation and they might be defensive, and they might have this preconceived notion that, okay, I'm a black person, so automatically my back's up against the wall, which is not always the case. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But we always are defensive, right? So we got to put on this show to the world that, hey, our lives matter. Look at us, right? We become rappers. We got big chains. We got fancy clothes. We're not doing that because we like it. I highly doubt a lot of these rappers look at these outfits and think, damn, this looks good. No, it's, hey, I'm going to get attention. People are going to look at me. Hey, look at me over here, right? People go to the store. We'll go to school. I see them at work. I see them everywhere. Just the average random black dude coming in with these furry shiesty masks on, and they got these ripped jeans, and they got these super expensive shoulder bags, and they got all this stuff on. Then I'll see some white dude come in there with khaki shorts and a polo tee and, I don't know, like Vans on or some crap like that, right? And once again, I'm making general statements. This doesn't apply to everybody.
I understand what you're saying. It sounds like what you're saying is that if you're stereotyped as being poor, you want to make sure you don't look poor.
Yeah, we want to put on this show to the world that our lives matter because inherently human beings, they desire validation from other people. We have been convinced that our lives don't matter because of what happened to our ancestors and what has happened to us socially and economically. So to a lot of black people, they look at this country and say they don't care about us. So we have to make ourselves known. They
don't really care about us, really.
And that results in a lot of the things that people do to make us vibrant. We got to show the world that we're here. But
they don't hate us as much as we think they do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, nobody really, the world, they don't care about us, but we don't really care about them like that. You know what I mean? I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. If you look at it, it's two things, collective and individual, right? Yeah. You see yourself as a part of the collective, everybody does in some form or fashion, then you're going to associate with certain societal or cultural norms. Like you mentioned, the way you dress, for example. You're not gonna see a black dude, most black dudes walking around in khakis and a polo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying, with some loafers on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's how a white dude dresses. Yeah. Right? So it's like, okay, if I'm not gonna dress like that, and that person or those people, that culture is something I don't really want to be a part of, I'm gonna go the opposite. And as a form of self-identification, shiesty mask, ripped jeans, etc. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that when you have people that dress like that, right? It's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean you do anything bad. It means you like to dress like that. Yeah. But then you also have people that dress like that and do a lot of criminal activity. Now, the negative stigma from that outfit is going to get carried over no matter who the person is, no matter what they've done. Yeah. So you get those judgments and those stereotypes get reinforced, right? Prime example, you saw the young man that knocked on the door, got shot just because he was trying to pick up his little siblings, went to the wrong house, and the white man shot him in the face. Mm-hmm. He didn't look like he was just no ski mask and like that. He's wearing literally a regular shirt and pants, bro. Yeah. When you see a story like that, that reinforces the stereotype that all white people are racist. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like these two things aren't separate. They go together and reinforce each other. It's a vicious cycle. So it's like, okay, where we go from here? Because we gotta admit that's fucked, bro. You shouldn't. If that was a white kid knock on this house asking about where my siblings are, is this the right house? That dude would not have pulled out his gun and shot him in the face. And then the kid, white neighborhood, walked around 4 different houses knocking on doors. Nobody answered. Finally, somebody did, and they just left him there bleeding. Didn't call anybody until 10, 20 minutes later.
Yeah, that's horrible.
If he was not black, would that have happened?
Objectively speaking, probably not. If
it's possible, would have, but most likely no. Yeah. No, I can say I would bet any amount of money on it. No, that would not have happened. Yeah. He wouldn't have got shot to begin with, right? So it's like stories like that. While they don't happen every day, it's like that's a tragic loss of life that should never have happened, bro. Yeah. Because of racial prejudices in white people's minds. And that's the real issue. The issue isn't about, black people need to do this, black people need to do that, yada, yada, yada. Yes, we got to work on our own shit, for sure. But white people got to fix their racism.
Is some of that prejudice our fault? If
what way? What do you mean? What our fault? Like, are we proving them right?
Yeah, and in certain regards, are we doing things in a way that might not justify their prejudice, so to speak, but kind of, for lack of a better term, not justify it meaning that is right, but are we proving them right, as you said, in a sense, like by the things we do, some of our culture that we tolerate?
I think if you look for a stereotype, you'll find it. If you look at somebody and have that in your mind, and then you see it, boom. You know what I mean? But whose fault is that? The person that thought like that, or the person that were being who they were, did what they're gonna do, and now that's gonna reinforce it. So who are you placing blame on? Is my question. Whose fault is it, bro? Who are you placing blame on?
I think
the person that's like, I saw one black person do this, so now they're all like this, or the person that just happened to do some dumbass shit.
I think it's a combination of both, and I'll use a more.
Pick one, bro.
I'll use a more neutral color just to prove the point. So if purple people,
we know who purple is, and we know. Okay, I'll let you finish.
Yeah.
Go ahead, do your thing. Don't say purple like I don't even mean black, motherfucker. What the fuck you acting like purple for? You can use we can flip it. Just flip and say white people. You flip. How you want to do it.
Okay, yeah. So let's say that historically,
yeah,
white people have been seen as doing a certain activity. Let's just say, I don't know, like robbing a gas station or something like that.
Okay.
Right? Let's just say that is something that they've been seen historically. Is it wrong for a black person to stereotype that, and then if they see a white person near a gas station, they might feel apprehensive? It's unfortunate that you look at that person that way, because that might not be who they are, but because we understand the world that we live in, it's a cold world. Is it wrong for them to stereotype? And I don't even want to say the word prejudice. Some people have prejudice, but I feel like prejudice is a lot more harsh than a stereotype. Is it wrong for people to have those stereotypes to possibly save themselves, or to just kind of be cautious? Sometimes it can backfire.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong at all. If I saw a skinhead walking down the street, you best believe I'm not going to bump into him. I'm not going to walk close to him. I'll probably try and avoid that motherfucker direction. If I see a motherfucker with Nazi tattoos on his arm, I am not going to be like, hey, sir, how you doing? I'm not going to fucking do that. You know what I'm saying? And same way, if I saw a black dude at night with a hoodie on coming up to me in my car and knock on my window, I'm not rolling down the fucking door. I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing that. No.
Hello, Mr. Diversity and Inclusion. How are you?
I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. You have to look at people. It's pattern recognition, man.
Yeah.
Recognizing patterns that happen. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with that is saying all black people are like that. All white people are like that. All bald white men are like that. That's the problem. When you classify the one as the all, that's the problem. And people they don't care enough to look at things at a deeper level. Because it's easy to say, people don't want nuance. They want easy. Yeah. Oh, black person, hoodie, bad. White person, fucking Trump flag, racist. They want easy, bro.
Do we do that subconsciously?
We have to. That's the way we evolved.
Yeah, like if you're sitting in your car and it's 10 o'clock at night and 10 black guys walk past your car, one every 5 minutes, and they all got a hoodie on and they're walking down the street, are you gonna assert that this guy's probably bad news and I need to be cautious?
Me, see, are you asking like in general, or like
maybe
me
just in general? You personally, I mean, you might double leg them if they try to do some effed up stuff. So
fuck no, I don't wrestle in a street fight. Somebody have a knife, gun, what the fuck it is.
Yeah,
bro. Hands first, man.
That's right.
If it comes to it, I'll slam you, but hands first, bro. I have hands.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? You don't got hands when it comes to a gun. Nobody got hands, bro.
Man.
So it's like, and living in St. Louis, you always got to be aware of your surroundings. Yeah. You can't sit here and act like, you know, a dumbass. People that look like victims or look clueless are gonna get taken advantage of.
Yeah,
this is the way it goes, man. It's the rule of the jungle, bro.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't live in a perfect world. We're not that far away from the times when, you know, people could invade you and take your shit, and take your land, take your women, kill all your sons. Like that wasn't that long ago. It really wasn't.
Crazy thinking about it.
It really wasn't that long ago. And if it happened to you, nobody blamed that guy. They blamed you for being weak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're not smart enough to realize the situation you in, the people you're around, and put yourself in positions that you don't have to feel that uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but no, to answer your question, if I saw 10 dudes walking past my car, I'd wonder what the fuck's going on. It's like a parade or something. What the fuck's going on right now? Nigga? It's a concert over there or some shit like that. Who's here? You know, who'd I miss? But it's like, if I saw one and it depends on how he's moving, yeah, I'm gonna judge it a certain way. But that's because if you have no personal experience with a certain type of people, you only have so much to go off of.
Yeah.
So it's like it's easy to stereotype, and humans, our default is fear, and we're gonna be pushed or pulled by fear or like pleasure, right? You know what I mean? So it's like you're not gonna see much pleasure if you're scared. You're only thinking fear and not threat or not threat. That's what it is. Is it a threat or is it not a threat?
Yeah.
Right. So if all you see in the news or whatever is people being shot or like violence, so and so's on the run, arrested, and the people that do these things. These are individuals committing crimes that happen to be black, not black people committing crimes. That's the part people don't want to realize.
There's a difference there.
There's a difference there, bro.
Yeah.
Individuals in desperate situations committing crimes versus black people being criminals. Two very different concepts.
Yeah.
Now, it's easier in your mind to kind of have a certain level of caution. Like, well, you know, you never know with them, right? Like it's that those are conversations people have, real talk.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, flip it, right? Well, you never know. You're the only black person in the room. You feel uncomfortable. If you're the only black person in the room is a black person. For me personally, if I'm the only black person there, I'm in non-threat mode.
I feel like every black person, depending on how old you are, has had that experience. If they're the only black person in the room, they might think, "Oh, this is kind of
these motherfuckers just turn on me,
start jumping your ass."
I don't fucking know. Like in you know, say for instance, like survival thing, right? Let's say active shooter or tornado or some crazy happens and you're the only black person there and somebody's got to go.
They gonna help kick you up.
Fucked up.
Sacrifice.
So I wasn't trying to make a joke there. That's fucked. I don't want to laugh there because that's real, bro. Like that's a genuine thought. It's like, okay, if somebody's got to go, who here is not like the others? You know what I'm saying? Like it's simple shit. Who here is not like the others? All right, and that's in the back of your head. Low key it is. But if you're a person that can interact, right? Because above all, everything else, like if you look past race and all that shit, because we're not just fucking animals, we're aware creatures. If you add value to any situation you walk into it, you've raised a pecking order, right? Like this idea that you have to like support everything everybody does is just insanity, man. I can't live like that.
That's where we're at now. Like it's
love you.
Yeah.
You're beautiful, love how confident you are. You shouldn't be.
But think about where it's coming from, man. It's coming from the top down. It's not like everything is about control. Like if people are fat, if they're out of shape, if they're overweight, if they're too self-absorbed with their feelings, if they don't go outside, if they have social anxiety, if they're on their phones all the time, these aren't things that we were born with. People aren't born fat. People aren't born addicted to their phones. People aren't born with all these issues. This stuff is imposed on them. And it's imposed by people who kind of sit at the top, right? And they want control. If you have a fat society, if you have a confused society, and you got a socially awkward society, and the list goes on, bro, like the control is easy. You can't physically enslave people anymore. So they're looking for ways to get everybody. And they get them, and they're sitting back and they're chilling. Because, I mean, come on now. I saw this one girl, and she made a video, and the video was a minute long, and it wasn't her talking about anything other than all the problems that she has. She said that she's a marginalized minority, and she's got social anxiety, and she has depression, and she's obese. And, bro, it went on for a minute of all of the problems that she had with herself. Not once did she say, all right, and I'm looking to change all these problems. I'm looking to no longer be a victim. I'm looking to get in shape. I'm looking to learn how to talk to people. It's just, no, this is who I am, and I wear like a badge of honor. People put this stuff in their bios, bro. Like,
it's crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised if I went to somebody's page and like they got the star emoji surrounding social anxiety, star emoji, obese, social, depressed, like all this stuff like that. And I'm like, Dog, these are problems that need to be fixed.
Dude, deal with that shit yourself, bro. Like, you got to deal with that shit with yourself and people you trust. Why are you putting it out to the world to know, random people, for them to tell you that? Like, what do you want people to say?
It's like a badge of honor.
Badge of honor. It's like they're happy. So is she like happy about it, or is she like one of those crying videos about complaining? And stuff?
It almost like portraying it as like, this is who I am, and you look at these, like,
these aren't good things you're saying.
They're not. And it's unfortunate because this is the internet, so it's hard to determine if these people will act this way in real life. But you go to the comments and you're so courageous. Oh my goodness, I love you. All these things like that. And extending love to people is great, but people don't know what love is. Loving somebody is not affirming all of their issues as if that is a good thing that they're going through. Loving someone is not affirming every single thing that they do because you don't want to hurt their feelings, so to speak. No, love is telling people that, hey, you got problems and you need to fix them, right? Yeah. So wearing depression and obesity and social anxiety and like victimhood like it's a badge of honor, like this is who I am.
Like you're proud of it.
Yeah, and then it's toxic to want to be masculine, to want to be fit, go to the gym.
You can't say that's who you are.
Exactly.
You can't. You have to say what you are, as long as it doesn't make anybody else feel like they're quote unquote. It's weird, bro. It's like, what are you so threatened by?
Yeah.
Like, what do you, saying I like to work out, I like to work hard, I like, things that have been normal throughout the history of time. All of a sudden, that makes me a bad person.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm the big bad guy that caused all the problems in the world. I made you fat. I made you socially anxious. I made you depressed. I made you blah, 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 blah. That could happen to anybody for any reason. Yeah.
Even people who take care of themselves, they still deal with depression, but they don't. But most of them don't like walk around and like put a pin on their shirt. Hey, I'm depressed. No, what a lot of people do, a lot of go-getters. All right, how do I fix this? How do I deal with it? Because this is not good. It's not good. I've dealt with it, right? And I'm not even saying I've fixed it all the way. I still deal with stuff. Because, man, life gets hard. But I don't sit around and I'm looking for pity. I don't go to people and say, hey, guys, I'm depressed. Like, am I a hero now? Am I courageous? Because no. I'm depressed. Like, celebrate me. Like, no, that's not okay. Because these things are not normal. We're not supposed to live life like that. It's not healthy to be obese. It's not healthy to be depressed. It's not healthy to be socially anxious. We're losing the ability to talk to each other. All this AI stuff, while it's cool, right? The idea of it is cool. People take it too far. They live in their phones. Most people, just think about this scenario. There's probably somebody out there who works from home. They order all their food online, order all their clothes online. The only people that they talk to are on Twitter or PlayStation. They don't go outside for real. These people exist now. Like, this is the problems that people used to deal with back in the day were, oh, crap, I got to go hunt so I could feed my family, right? They didn't have time
to... You really just described what, like slavery would be. You stay in this little box. You work for 8 hours a day. You have to work. Food gets delivered to you at certain times. You have the illusion of choice, right? Because you can buy all kind of different foods you want, right? But most things you get delivered aren't going to be healthy to you. Nobody's Postmating a 5-star meal.
No.
You're getting fucking Chipotle, which is actually, I take it back. I love Chipotle.
Chipotle. You guys are back.
Taco Bell, McDonald's, other shit like the Five Guys, but that's just not good for you.
Nah.
So what they're feeding you all the poison, keeping you distracted with the social media, you know what I'm saying? Keeping you in negative feedback loops where the only type of interaction you get is when you're complaining about the shit you're going through.
Exactly.
And then when somebody tells you to change it, like, hey man, like you could actually take some steps to get over this. You could there's things you can do to not be like this no more. Now they get attacked.
Exactly.
For judging.
Yeah.
For being, you shouldn't talk bad about somebody. Everybody has their own way of dealing with things. Like, yeah, that's fine. But how is complaining about it today gonna help you in the moment or tomorrow?
Exactly.
It ain't help you at all, man. And that's, people gotta realize that nobody's coming to save you.
Not at all, bro.
Superman's not real, bro.
Superman is within. Like, in that,
hell
yeah.
Yeah.
Holy crap, that just hit me.
Yeah, man, it's within, bro.
Damn, man. Like, but it's true in the sense that, like, you have to show up for yourself. And if you don't, man, your life is not going to be it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out the way you want it to. You're going to go through a lot of stuff. And even me talking about this right now is helping me because I got like people put on this facade and this like everything's all good or whatnot. That's the problem with social media. People post the good things. They don't like there's not a lot of people out there who post what they're really going through, dog. They don't. So like but you gotta be able to show up for yourself and to be able to address these problems, these issues, because this is not life. This is not how it was supposed to be. Like I said, people back then, their issues were external. Oh, I gotta hunt for food and I gotta feed my family. I gotta make sure I don't get eaten by a bear. Nowadays, our problems are internal, especially in this country. As you said earlier, we got so many first world problems. All of the problems that we have in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies, dog, that's crazy. The fact that more of our problems are internal than external is wild, dog. Yep. The vast majority of our problems don't even exist in reality.
It's in the past or the present.
Exactly.
Past or the future, I mean.
Yeah, we live in realms that don't even exist.
That's so crazy. Depression's all just living in the past.
Yes.
Living in the past or like
anxiety for the future, dog.
What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And that's just real. I've dealt with anxiety, dealt with depression, shit like that, all that stuff. And the way to get out of it is just to do something.
Action, bro.
You have to take action. Like, I'm tired of hearing people complain about shit because it's like, bro, I don't care about your feelings. We got shit to do. We got problems to solve.
Yeah, man.
We got a planet that's fucked up in the world. We got fucking hurricanes, tornadoes happen all the damn time. We got a healthcare system that's fucked. We got a prison system that's built for profit. We got, so many different things happening. Technology, AI, how are we going to handle that? Like, we're literally creating the next evolution of life in real time. And you guys are worried about what the fuck if a guy can wear a dress or not. Who the fuck cares? I don't care if you wear a dress. I don't care what you wear. I don't care what you call yourself. I don't care what you identify as. What the fuck are you doing to solve some problems for the world?
Yeah.
Get out your own ego.
Exactly.
Get out your own fucking ego.
We're here to
nobody
be
cares
of
about your life, bro.
To each other.
Yes.
That's literally it. And if the vast majority of people had that mindset where it's, I don't disregard feelings because we have them, but I acknowledge them and then I say, okay, I am not my feelings. It's time to get to work. That's what people need to do. Suppressing your feelings is bad because eventually you're gonna blow up.
I'm not saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. But acknowledging them, saying, okay, this is how I feel. How do I address this? Like, so I can move on with my life. If everybody thought like that and then everyone came together, helped each other out, man, stuff would be so much better. But everyone is so self-absorbed, dog.
Yes,
like it is. And I'm telling you, man, I feel like I've lived this recently where my whole life is performative. It's what can I do to portray to the world that I'm good and that I'm competent at something and that I'm great even, right? That's all ego. It's self-absorption.
Really
and you get trapped in this spiral of me, I. What do I got to do? My feelings, my accomplishments, my goals, all this stuff like that. You have completely forgotten that there's a whole world that exists out there with other people who you could be helping or you could be of service to. Instead, you're so self-absorbed. And like I said, now it's getting worse because everybody's got feelings now. Mm-hmm. Everyone's so caught up in their feelings, they don't realize that life is happening. And then, ironically, all the problems that people want to complain about, they either want to blame God for or they want to blame each other for. It's everyone's fault. Look around. Like, there's no other intelligent life form on this planet that is greater than humans. None.
Zero.
None at all. So when you look at all these problems, you're like, oh my goodness, how did they happen? Well, I wonder why. Who else is here that's capable of this?
Each generation makes problems and solves them, right?
Yeah.
But like, it's cyclical, bro. It's cause and effect. Like, we freaking prime example. Talk a little about geopolitics here for a second. I got like down deep ass rabbit hole about like geopolitics this weekend. So fresh on my mind. So literally, Osama bin Laden, Taliban, right? Mm. Those guys that we went over there. Boom, took him out because he did 9/11. Mm. The reason that some random freaking dudes in sandals and AKs were able to coordinate an attack that way, like those logistics and that planning and that execution, was because in the 90s and 80s, we trained the Taliban to kick out the Soviets so to maintain our dominance in that region.
Damn, for real.
So we trained the very people that attacked us 20 years later. And then we invaded them again to defeat the people that we trained, to defeat the people we were trying to beat. So it's like, at the time, though, the right decision is arguably to, okay, let's, if Russia, right, the turn Soviet Union, all that stuff, they're spreading communism. You see it now, right now, like Soviet Russia trying to expand their thing because they're spreading a different ideology. Once again, if they're trying to spread their ideology that directly conflates and conflicts with our ideology as a superpower, we just can't let that stand because that creates a bigger threat to national security. So, okay, we don't want to fight Russia directly because that starts a giant conflict. Nukes start flying. Nobody wants that. So who can we pick in there to fight this battle for us to make sure that little bitty country with all that damn oil stays not even democratic, just loyal to the U.S., right? Boom, Osama bin Laden, Taliban, agrees to it. And he's like, okay, cool. Osama takes the money, yada, 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 takes the weapon, trains him, beats it for the U.S. But now it's like, okay, we did that for you. Now you got to do what we say. And the United States starts that bullying shit against them. And you only going to take that for so much. You know what I mean? Like, the white dudes coming in here, not even white, just like Americans. Just American dudes coming here telling us what the hell to do. We're not going to stand for that. You know? So they, boom, 9/11 happens, send a message. Oh, you going to do that to us? 20 years in Iraq and Afghanistan. So all this shit goes in cycles, bro. So it's like, if you don't have tough people in the present to handle the problems created by the past, these problems are going to swallow us. Yeah. So everything we're seeing right now is accumulation of the past. And how we handle it today will dictate the future. Exactly. But like to your point, caught up in your own feeling in your head and what you're doing yourself, you're not even thinking about the world you're shaping for the next generation. You're so focused on shaping the world to fit you. Mm-hmm. And that's the fucking mistake.
Yeah. Like, you got to have a balance where your life can't be like, you can't disregard your life, but that's where the balance comes in. You can only help somebody effectively if you've helped yourself enough to be at that level where you can be of service to somebody else, but that's where balance comes into play. You can't be so extreme in your self-absorption that you disregard like the outside world and the fact that, contrary to popular belief, you're needed. You're needed in this initiative to make the world a better place for future generations to come, if that's even going to happen, because we're imploding on ourselves as the days go on. So, I mean, that's kind of a coin toss at this point, but like, it is getting so much more worse, and it's crazy how people don't see it. This is the most intricate game I've ever seen being played ever in any iteration whatsoever.
What game? What you mean? Break that down for us.
The control, bro. Literally, like, and I'll even go. I'll go like by group, right? So, okay, black people, for example, right?
Honestly, I think I only hear my left ear right now. I hear myself in my left ear, but not my right. It does that? Is that normal?
Yeah, that should be fine. As long as these are on here, then we're cool.
Cool. Yeah. Just making sure.
Yeah, man.
Just making sure. So we cooling now.
Yeah, we're straight.
But my fault. Go ahead, gang.
No, you're good.
Yep.
So just take like black people for example, right? They're brought over here as slaves. Okay. They're enslaved. It's legal. They're on plantations working for free. Bam. Emancipation Proclamation. 1865, all that stuff happens, and they're quote unquote free. They're no longer slaves, at least. And the idea, like I said, at least, especially from the South, is like they were like our main source of, economic prosperity, right? We need to get that back. 13th Amendment, bam. I mean, they already had this stuff circulating and in play, but these are their fallbacks to ensure that they still got some skin in this game. 13th Amendment passes, you can't enslave anybody unless they are in prison or whatnot. As I said earlier, you arrest people for jaywalking or looking at you funny. Bam, you got them right back in there, right? It is addressed a little bit, but not a whole lot because the prison system is still messed up. It's a loophole.
So now you only get, you just like arrest people for bullshit ass reasons.
They're still playing the game. And then like what I told you this a while ago, whereas if you look now, right, technically slavery is illegal. You don't like drive around in this country, I hope not, and see black people on a white man's plantation. But if you look at the economic situation of the black community, the socioeconomic state of the black community, we're enslaved in that regard. The vast majority of us are. I said it before, like even earlier. A lot of these corporations owned by white people. Yes, other white people buy from these corporations, but statistically, black people as a whole spend about $1 trillion a year on goods and services, which I think is the most compared to population size to the next group over. So we're America's number one consumer, so to speak, right? We were America's victims. Now we're their number one consumer. So they and it's not even, some people have prejudices toward black people, but for a lot of these people, they're economically driven. They just look at who spends the most money, and they look at how to manipulate these people into doing that. Flawless. They're playing the game to such a flawless degree where people don't even see what is really going on, right? So they market their stuff primarily to black people. They get them to spend all this money, all this stuff like that, right? They're playing the game. And then now, like I said, they're not even just stopping at black people. It's all people. As we've been talking about, all these feelings or whatnot, if you corrupt people's minds, if you shove porn in their face, if you shove social media down their throats, if you tell them that they're beautiful in any iteration that they are, right? They're fat, oh, they're beautiful. If they don't take care of themselves, it's fine, they're beautiful, right? If they're confused about their identification, instead of trying to help you through it, all right, let's chop your penis off or let's put you on hormones. Let's do just all this stuff, right? Let's completely disregard any way to help people be like the best version of themselves. No, let's just affirm them in every feeling that they are feeling. We strip them down so much to the point where they are essentially jello. Their brains are rotten, right? It is like, I see it all the time, right? Like, we'll take porn, for example. To each his own, right? I think it's a horrible thing because, and not to say that people don't struggle with it, but it's proven that it rottens your brain, right? Your interactions with women.
Yeah, man. It's not good. Nobody can say porn's good.
Exactly. Your interactions with women, they're tainted. Your sexual activity is tainted. All of these things, your self-confidence goes down, testosterone.
You're watching people do things you want to do.
Exactly.
Rather than going out there and doing it yourself.
Sitting on the sidelines and you're getting off on it.
Yep.
Like, come on now.
Now you're rewarding yourself for not doing it.
Exactly. You're tricking your brain.
Yep.
Dopamine is a crazy thing. You do something that's of substance, you release dopamine. You tell your brain, hey, in order to feel this, you got to do something difficult.
Right.
When you watch porn, you get off after 30 seconds. That was easy. That was so easy. But your brain is not tricked into... I only get instant gratification. 30
seconds. Damn.
Like, you only get gratification from 30 seconds of work.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even, all you do is like push a few buttons on your screen.
Exactly.
Now, what does that do is also like, now you're reinforcing pleasure comes from screens.
Yeah.
Keep you locked in, keep you glued to it.
Exactly.
Same thing with social media. Like when you talk about like comparison, they say comparison is the greatest thief of joy. Because you're watching other people do something that you really want to do, it makes you feel bad about yourself because you know you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Even though you want to do it, you're not even trying to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can see somebody else do it, and that's good enough for you because you don't want to do the work. Because you've been conditioned to not have to work hard because life is really, really easy for us here in the first world. It's all these points tied together, man. And I like the way you broke it down, like, because it started, we used the example of black people because we were talking about black people earlier. But to your point, it's spread across all people. In a way, but there's also ways to get up if you maneuver it the right way. Because America is a meritocracy.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you work hard, for the most part, you'll have success. It's not hard. The more you put in, the more you get out.
Consistency is like the biggest key, and people overcomplicate
Gotta stay consistent, man. And like that's the thing, that the one part that you missed, I would say, about like in terms of example of our community, would be the people in power are less likely to give those opportunities to us simply because of the color of our skin in a lot of instances, which is why you saw affirmative action come into place. And obviously, I think you have different feelings about that.
I do.
Yeah, of course you do. And I think it's a net positive. It's like necessary discrimination in a way. I can't act like it's not, based on the way it's used in the modern vernacular. I'm not trying to get all dictionary, like look up what discrimination means and, you have to be an oppressed person to be discriminated. I'm not going to do all that.
Yeah.
Let's think about it. Discrimination is getting treated differently because of something you can't control.
Exactly.
Type shit.
Yeah.
And even that means getting a leg up on somebody. But is it justified? Is it same thing reparations? It's a handout, but is it justified? right? Yeah. Is it a justification to make things, you're going to love this word, more equitable?
Interesting.
Right? Mm-hmm. To make things more fair, to make things more balanced, and to level the playing field a little bit. Because basically what you said was, right, they brought slaves over here, not just black people too, like indigenous people were slaves, Latin American, like the indigenous people of the South, they were slaves. Most of the slaves were in the Caribbean, real talk. Hellas of them was fucked. And that was the worst type of slavery too, barbaric. It was brutal, man. It's like historically, even historical context, when you look at like slavery across the world, you know, and like across time, the transatlantic slave trade was uniquely brutal, savage. You know, when they try and paint us the pictures, us like we're the savages now, but look what they did throughout all of history. It's funny how they twist things like that.
Of course they do.
But nah, man, I think that I really do agree with what you said, that while it does seem like they want us to be in control, there is opportunities to bring yourself up if you actually put in the work to do it. Yeah. You know, like I think that it's easier here than in other countries.
Of course it is. People don't take advantage of that.
They don't take advantage of that.
It's just let me look at let me look at my problems. Let me complain about them. That's the problem with being here and not experiencing anything else. That's the problem with like comfort, is that you become kind of complacent with where you're at, and you become unaware of what other people might be going through. It doesn't really give you a kick that you need to put yourself into gear. You're so, go back to it, self-absorbed with what you got going on. Like I heard this saying before, where it's like hard times make strong men, strong men make easy times make weak men. Yeah, and it's just
weak men make hard times. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and it's a cycle, right? A lot of people, they are weak men and women, right, who are a product of those strong people who created the easy times for them. Now they are making hard times for themselves because they have no struggle in their life. They have no resistance. They have no uncomfortable like parts of their life that they have to endure. So everything is mushy gushy, and they got time to focus on their feelings. And that's the hard part in their life is, oh my goodness, I feel sad, or come on, dog. Once again, but it ain't like the people at the top are going to say, hey, no, you guys stop focusing on your feelings, go be uncomfortable and grow. No, it's, oh yeah, we want to affirm everyone. Everyone has feelings and we love you guys, and you guys are all great and everyone gets a trophy and all this BS, right? It's ridiculous because you look at it, and like I said, the people playing the game, they're not going to acknowledge it because they're winning. Yeah. So they want to be quiet because they don't want to be called out on it.
Do you think the people that are winning are also victim to that, as far as like now they're becoming weak too?
I think at some point they might have been, and for some of them, they're probably getting like a little too ahead of themselves or too cocky. They might be creating those,
and that's it's a different weakness, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Gotcha. I think it's different, but I think a lot of them, I think they saw this. I think they saw how the world worked. They see all these problems. The vast majority of people are so similar. That's why I and I don't want to say this and be so simplistic when I say it, but you just kind of hit on it. It's not that hard to be successful. And I know that is not a popular like thought or like idea to put out there, but just think about how many people are not quote unquote successful. How many people are not consistent in their passion or their side hustle or whatnot? How many people are not innovating? There's a lot more of them who are not. So it's not necessarily like there's so much competition that it's hard to get your foot in the door. No, it's just there's so much lack of I don't even like the word motivation, but for lack of a better term, lack of motivation. There's so much lack of drive that it rubs off on the next person. So you look around and you see a bunch of people in your family or your friends or in your circle or just people around in the world who are either lazy or they have no drive or they become complacent with a mundane life. That rubs off on you. We're impressionable. So it takes a really observant person to see a different life, and it takes a determined person to go after it. And honestly, consistency is the main thing. Consistency and discipline, you got those two. It's not a matter of if, but when you will hit that mark that you want to get at. So these people who run the show, I feel like a lot of them have noticed that, hey, it's not rocket science to crack the code on the quote unquote matrix, so to speak, and how to get to the top. But now that I'm up here, I realize that, man, all these people, they're like robots. I can control them like it's nobody's business. And that's the life that so many people are living.
How would you define breaking out of the matrix?
I think that first you have to become aware of it. I think that you have to become aware of the fact that, like, we are in a controlled society, right? This whole idea of we're free or whatnot, which objectively we are free in relation to another country over, but there's still some control going on. There's still some heavy influence going on. So when you recognize that, I think that's the first step. And then, I mean, the second step is very straightforward. It's not going to be easy in execution because you're going to hit some roadblocks, but the idea is very simple. Get to work. Being consistent. Find something that you are good at, or initially find something that'll make you a lot of money, so to speak. A good idea for some people is either find something that you're good at and work hard at it and then become frugal, or if you're kind of uncertain about what it is that you have an interest in, that's not just an excuse to sit around and do nothing. Go find something that'll make you a lot of money, because once again, we live in an economically driven world. So go find something that makes you a lot of money. That way you at least have the funds to be able to support whatever endeavor it is that you want to go forth whenever you figure out what it is. But
so you said become aware of the matrix. What does that mean? Like what you just outlined as far as what they want you to believe?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll kind of use my personal experience. When we were in high school, I mean, I wasn't real privy to like politics or whatnot initially, but around like my sophomore year, I started kind of following it in more, and I realized that as a black person, I'm expected to vote for a Democrat. Now, I'm not going to purposefully vote for a Republican just to spite black people or the community.
Because then you're just buying into the other side of the matrix.
Exactly. So you're still a part of it.
You're still in it. You're just a different side. Yeah.
Exactly. But the problem is that there are so many people who will vote Democrat or vote Republican, not because they did the research and that, you know, they are so comfortable within their data and their assertion of these politicians that they're comfortable with who they're going to vote for. No, it's, okay, I'm white, so I vote Republican, or I'm rich, so I vote Republican. I'm black, so I vote Democrat, or I'm middle class, or I'm LGBTQ, so I vote Democrat, or any of those things, right? People take these shallow classifications when it comes to politics and say, that's who I'm going to vote for because that's what I was told to do. And that's how I came up, right? Where I wasn't directly told by like my mom or my dad, you're black, so vote Democrat. I just saw black people voting Democrat.
Right.
And then I researched it. And the Democrats have had the black vote for the past 60, 70 years unequivocally. Like really little to no resistance. Right.
Do you think that's because Republicans, do you think that could be because Republicans are a little bit racist?
I think that Democrats can be racist too. I think that the perception that they put out is that we're here to save you and that Republicans are here to hold you back. I think that both parties can present good and bad to any number of communities. If you look at Republicans, a lot of, I'm just going to go something very simplistic. They favor capitalism. Work hard, get on your stuff. We're not really here to give you a handout, yada, yada, yada. To some people, that can seem...
Prioritize profits over social programs.
Exactly. To a lot of people, that can seem oppressive, or that can even seem racist because
it's a little bit fucked up.
Because the socioeconomic status of black people is like, hey, for a lot of us, that's not sustainable, right? Because we're starting at such a far point, right? We're so far behind the eight ball. But in a way, that's kind of, for lack of a better term and very simplistically putting it, that's tough love. Hey, figure it out, right? Get on your stuff. There's so many opportunities here. There's an abundant amount of opportunities here. It's not impossible. So if you work hard, if you are focused, you can do it.
I wouldn't say it's tough love, gang. I would say like, I would say that it's more of being a capitalist is the fastest way to catch up.
Yeah,
you know, if you think about it, like instead of waiting for like some sort of reparation to happen, like it's outside of your control, you take it up on your own to go make it on your own, get out the mud on your own. Then you'll be able to actually have something to show for it, and you did it and you earned it, right? So I think that provides a bit more like of a psychological shift too, when you feel like you've earned something. You got a better self-image of yourself as well. And I wasn't disagreeing with you. I just think that like a lot of times, you know, we have this idea that you have to be one or the other instead of pulling the best from both sides. Like I think you hit on something a second ago. You nailed it. You was like, both. You said Democrats are racist too. Yeah, they're racist. They don't even realize that they act racist sometimes. Like they look at you like, you know, like you're some sort of sob story.
Think about voter ID laws.
What do you mean by that?
Okay. A couple years ago, it was a big deal of.
I remember this. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like racist to have black people have ID to vote. Now, voter ID laws, like being like repealed. That's a Democratic initiative. So if you know, like if person A looks at it, they're like, oh, the Democrats care about me because they're looking out. I'm marginalized and it's hard for me to get an ID, so they're looking out for me. Somebody like me or person B, they're going to look at it and say, well, that seems a little racist that you think that I'm not capable of getting an ID. And you're not even describing it in a holistic sense. Like, hey, you know, like there might just be, you know, X amount of black people in jail, or there might be X amount of black people who don't even have the right to vote or anything like that. No, I saw so many interviews and press conferences of just them describing it as black people don't know where the DMV is. Black people don't know how to use the internet. I saw a video like that. This one white dude was going around and he was asking these white citizens of New York. It's like, hey, our voter ID law is racist. And all these white people were like, yeah, because these people don't know how to use the internet, or they don't know where the DMV is, or they don't have the resources to get an ID.
Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Is that also would make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
They think they're being virtuous and they think they're being righteous by looking out for us, but they're indirectly being so racist because they believe that because of the color of our skin that we are incapable of this. The same white guy goes to these black people and he says, hey, our voter ID law is racist. All of these black people are saying, no, here's my ID. I know where the DMV is. I know how to use the internet. I'm going to go vote.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions.
That's a Democratic initiative that, to me, appears racist. Now, they're going to paint it as we're looking out for you, but both parties can be racist. And as you just said, pulling both from good qualities from both parties is important, and then applying it to your own individual life. Because who's the president, honestly, has no real bearing on your individual everyday life. It's important, but from Donald Trump to Joe Biden, my life has not drastically changed so much that I even sometimes notice that we have a different president, right? It's not.
No, it doesn't matter. Your president really don't matter. Like, really, we can't control most of the things that happen in world politics.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that your point about it being the reason why they said that, bro, isn't because they are being racist. It's because they're using that as a cover for the real reason. The real reason they don't want voter ID laws is so they can get the illegal immigrants to vote Democrat, which always do usually. If you're a legal immigrant, you're going to vote Democrat because they're going to keep letting you in, let your family in, and protect you from there, right? So it's like, oh, but we can't say the reason why we want no voter ID is so our legal immigrants will be able to vote for us. We have to make it about something else. Well, what can we say that makes us sound virtuous? Oh, well, you know, some people, black people don't have that, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So they are using us in order to get their own agenda in. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like Democrats are being racist. They're just being willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
Right? Republicans, on the other hand, will actively suppress black voting because they are racist. Not because they're. I'm not gonna throw racist out there. I'm gonna say because they know black people won't vote for them and they want to win the election. Like you said, capitalism, right? Win at any cost. Maximize your profits. Maximize your wins. Mm-hmm. If you know black people aren't voting for you and you want to win the election, you're gonna try everything you can to make sure black people can't vote. That's racist too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's never the people in power. They don't see us as people. They see us as tools and means to meet their agendas.
Pawns. They're playing chess.
They're playing chess.
Yes.
The government's job is not to take care of the people. The government's job is to preserve the government. Mm-hmm. People get this shit backwards. They think the government's supposed to like be serving us. Like, no, we give the government power.
Yeah.
They get their money from our taxpayer dollars. But they've done this really good job of convincing us that like the government is somehow, this being that existed before time. Like, no, like, and literally in the Constitution, it says if the government ever goes too far, the citizens of that nation have a right and an obligation to overthrow that government or revolutionize it or reorganize it to make it fit the needs of the people.
But guess what, bro? They're playing chess. They saw that and said, nope, we don't want that. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to make teams. And we're going to brainwash everybody into getting on one of these teams. So they're going to fight each other before they fight us, right? Mm-hmm. I was watching some coverage from Trump when he was at court. And outside of the courthouse, literally, it's the epitome of what I just said. There's barricades. On one side of the barricade, all Trump supporters. On the other side of the barricade, all Trump haters. And they're all yelling at each other, flipping each other off, calling each other names, all of these things. Chess, bro. They're more likely to fight each other. They're not even focused on the government. They have been brainwashed into hating each other on behalf of politicians or political ideologies. They ain't never met these people. They don't know these people personally. And a lot of these political ideologies have no real bearing on their life. But they are playing chess at the highest level because they have convinced people that, hey, our party is the one who's exclusively trying to help the country move forward, and the other party is trying to push us back. Everyone thinks that they're on the right side.
Yeah, exactly.
So the fact that they have made, like, it's not even, like I said, it's crazy. These parties are established now. These aren't like just, hey, I'm leaning toward a certain ideology that's kind of just out there. No. You have to register as a Republican or a Democrat or a third party or whatever the case may be.
Independent, you can register
the
too.
fact that you have to register, you can't just run for president off of your own ideals or the ideals of the people around you. You have to register for a certain team. I'm not even going to say party, team. That's crazy. So all this talk about we want to unite the country, Joe Biden coming in here, hey, I'm running my campaign on, I'm going to bring us all together. No, that's a lie. And I can't wait for a politician to come in there and say, hey, I'm going to be real with you guys. My goal is not to bring you guys together because at the point that we're at right now, it's not possible. We definitively have teams, which makes it impossible. But that's because we set it up to make sure that you guys have no interest in working together and moving the country forward, but so that you guys are tricked into fighting each other. To the point where if you guys want to implode on yourselves, do that down there. We're chilling up here.
Right. How do we get to that point though? How do we allow that to happen?
I think that, man, it's how did
we allow that to happen? How do we allow ourselves to get so divided?
Man, it's just, I think it was just always in our nature to do so, right? Like this country, it blew up so fast, and what I'm kind of holding my breath for is like some like Roman Empire fallen type stuff, right? Where like this country's not old. It's 250 years. That's not a long time.
It's one of the youngest countries out there.
Yeah, but we're like one of the biggest, if not the biggest superpower on the planet.
We're the most powerful country on the planet. Yes. Have been since World War II.
Happened like that, dog. Yep. So like,
add on to your point real quick, China, the next one coming up, has a history that's like thousands of years old.
And we passed them.
Yeah.
So, but think about how rich our history is. And I don't say rich as a good connotation. Just like there's so much that happened.
Yeah, a lot of things have happened. Very eventful history.
So much that has happened. In 250 years, dog. Like 250 years, that's like what, 3.5 generations maybe. That's somebody lives to 100, another person lives to 100, and then somebody else who lives to 50. Yeah. That's not a long time, dog.
Yeah.
So
It's not.
that's like that the fact that so much has happened. I mean, there's a lot that's been thrown at us. A lot that's been thrown at people who have come before us. We've been so occupied. Our minds and our attention has been so occupied with issues and problems that we have not had time to just get to know each other, to connect with each other, to say, hey, how are we alike? No, out the gate, we came, hey, what's out here that we can use to hate on somebody that we don't like, right? Or what's out here that we can use to I don't know, like oppress other people? What's out here that we can use to manipulate other people? That was out the gate. And I mean, momentum, it carries through time, and we're experiencing it now.
We've been through this before. We had the whole Silver fucking war. So
Yeah,
we've been
man.
divided over things before. So I do think it's possible for us to come back together. What we need, though, is we need a common enemy.
Yeah.
That would, like, unite people to get together. Like, we weren't around back then. We're pretty young thinking about it. But after 9/11, America was hella united.
Yeah.
Because we had the enemy. They attacked America. They fucked with us. They got to pay. I don't care what side of the aisle you was on. You were on board for whatever war was about to get launched because somebody had to pay for this shit.
Yeah.
Attacked our biggest city in the world.
I mean,
Our biggest trade center. Embarrassed us in front of everybody. Global news. America got attacked by a terrorist attack. Embarrassing as fuck. Somebody's got to pay for that. You got to get your get backs. Right? So I hope that like nothing like that happens again. But at the same time, we do need some sort of event that creates a common enemy and that it could bring us all together. They're kind of trying to do that shit in Ukraine with like Ukraine and Russia, but people don't really give a fuck about Ukraine anymore.
no,
They really don't, bro.
they're
They don't
getting
fuck
pissed
Ukraine.
now because all the money that we're sending.
Yeah, man, and it's just it's not. I'm not honestly mad about Ukraine. I understand why we have to do it.
Yeah, I do too.
I understand why we have to do it because like, not even that like we're protecting democracy. Like it's more about we can't just let Russia do whatever it wants.
Yeah, you
They
can't let
do-
superpowers just kind of run roughshod over the whole world.
We
like
told
that.
you don't do it and you did it, so we can't let you just finish doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sit back, you guys.
Yeah,
It's none of
yeah.
our business.
Good
Like
luck,
we can't.
Ukraine. Good luck. Like, nah,
Yeah.
man. We gotta stop that for sure. And we have to make sure that China knows that shit ain't gonna fly.
I mean, because they're eyeballing somebody too.
Taiwan,
Yeah.
buddy. Like, that's it's a tough one, and that may be the catalyst, right?
Mhm.
If China decides to invade Taiwan, because your boy Biden already told us that he's gonna, and I think any president would, not just Biden, is gonna defend Taiwan with like military action. Like it'll be U.S. troops fighting. That's the difference between Taiwan and Ukraine. In Taiwan, it'll be U.S. troops fighting, but they don't. Taiwan doesn't have. It's China and Russia are very different. People think that it's like, oh, we're fighting Russia through Ukraine, like it's a proxy war type of thing. That's not what's going on. We're fighting China through Russia through Ukraine.
Oh,
You follow me?
yeah.
So it's like this is the new Cold War. And when people talk about, oh, World War III is gonna happen, like no. War evolves. Things change over time. They used to be in trenches, then they got in tanks, then we started dropping nukes. Then we realized, okay, we got to stop doing that shit.
Yeah.
Too much. People realize that if we're the big superpowers, we don't want our own people getting messed up like that. So now we'll do these little proxy wars in these third world countries, and we'll have their citizens fight each other instead of our citizens fighting each other.
Yeah.
Right? Because that way it's more of like a battle of influence rather than like direct conflict. Because direct conflict creates tremendous panic. And the last thing you want, division is fine. Panic is not.
Yeah.
Uncertainty is fine. Panic is not. Because that's when people start doing crazy shit. And
Irrational stuff.
Exactly. What you just said earlier, what's all about control.
Yeah.
You can't control panic.
Yeah.
You can control fear and uncertainty easy because, it's very predictable human nature. But once panic goes, it's all wild card. People are doing crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that if World War III were to ever happen, it wouldn't be on American soil. It would be like Southeast Asia and maybe Eastern Europe over there. And we just have to hope that the people around the world kind of come on our side.
Yeah.
I kind of went this long little tangent here, but dude, literally, I see it kind of playing out. And if you think about through the lens of, okay, these world, like you were saying, it's all about economics, right? And if economically we want to become the most powerful country or want to maintain to be the most powerful country, we can't keep on losing wars.
No, we can't. But what's unfortunate, is even though that's the reality, even though that the world is driven by economics,
It is, yep.
we have the common enemy here, right? It's in front of our face.
Who's the common enemy here?
The common enemy is hatred, bro. We hate each other more than anything on this planet. And I talked about this with somebody, and it was an undesirable stance, but I still took it because I think that it's important to put that forth. You recall the whole...
I wasn't expecting to say hatred. That kind of took me by kind of shock. Okay.
Yeah, which is not, like I said, it's not... It's there, so sometimes it doesn't seem so obvious, but that's what it is, right? But there's no morals in business. So all these governments, they're going to war or they're jumping on all these other countries and trying to take them over. They leave their morals at the door, right? I hate you, and I'm is really economically driven, right? A lot of the times, or ideologically driven. So they leave any, morality, at home, and they go fight these people. And hatred just brews there. But at least in the United States of America, like I said, I had a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about Kanye, right? With the whole thing what he did, and obviously he's dogging him. I'm going on Twitter. All these people are dogging Kanye. The news, they're dragging him. All these things like that. And then I told him, I'm like, maybe, right? And I'm not saying this because I'm co-signing any crazy thing that has been said. I'm saying it because our track record of fighting hate with hate has not been good.
No.
It has not been, right? We had a whole civil war. So maybe, just maybe, try extending love to this man. This man has lost his mom. His wife is not with him anymore. He, at least to our knowledge, does not have easy access to his children. Like, he's going through so much, and that's not to justify any crazy or irrational thing he's doing. It is, no, let's extend love to this man, because a lot of the bad things that happen, a lot of mass shooters, a lot of criminals, a lot of what they do, I mean, a lot of them fit the same profile, right? They had nobody in their corner. They lacked love, and they didn't have anybody to be there for them. And that's not an excuse to justify or atone them for what they did, but there is some merit to, hey, there's not a lot of rational people who just go out and commit crimes like that or say crazy stuff. No, I've never committed a crime. I've jaywalked, fine, whatever. But I've never, done anything like that. I've never, at least to my knowledge, said anything so crazy or radical, right? But hurt people, right? So if somebody is hurting and our response is to dog them out or to hate on them or to hurt them back, right? Tit for tat, you're just creating this explosion that's waiting to happen. Exactly. Yeah. So that's the common enemy that we have, is we hate each other so much. You don't have to agree with somebody to
it's hard to love somebody when you disagree with them.
Exactly. Man. And that's the part that people miss, is somebody disagrees on the trans ideology, or they disagree on a certain economic ideology, or they don't like who you voted for president. People don't know how to coexist within those spaces and disagree. They say, hey, no, we disagree. That means we have to hate each other. Oh, you didn't vote for who I voted for? Okay, I got to block you.
It's tough, man. I see the point you're making, and I think we need a lot more love in the world for sure. We need a lot more understanding, and just take a second, relax, and realize that nothing anybody says to you is going to bring you any harm. You know what I mean? Yeah. At the very least, let go of the hate.
Yeah.
The very least, right? And it's tough because we just went this whole tangent a second ago about how much people need to stop, accepting things that shouldn't be accepted. Mm-hmm. And then we say, you need to be loved. So it's like, which one, bro?
I mean, you can do things without hate. And yeah, sometimes you might have to have an edge to you to get some stuff done. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to hate people. And people can acknowledge it all, or they can ignore it if they want. But the reality is that we hate each other. Like that's not a secret. Like Republicans, they hate Democrats. Democrats, they hate Republicans. Some of them might not use that word, and some of them might be straightforward.
Hate is a very strong word.
Yeah, but you got to understand. But love is an action, bro. Okay. These people on this side of the aisle, they wouldn't do a damn thing for these people over here, and that is an allusion to maybe there's some form of hatred there.
People have taken things really personal now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where that comes from. I think what you're saying, I agree, because it's like if you take it personally, now you're getting your feelings get involved, and when you're talking about very serious things and you disagree with somebody and you feel like they're attacking you, you're gonna want to attack them back, and that's hating. You hating on somebody just because of who they are and what they say.
Exactly.
Hating. Disagreeing just to disagree.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like that's so true. That's so true. Like I don't know how you can. I don't know how it became that way, because I don't know if it was always like this.
I don't think so. I think maybe that, I mean, that's the problem with diversity, right? Diversity is cool in the sense that we can see a lot of different things, but there's so many people and there's so much out there that we've kind of moved away from each other. So anytime that we kind of interact with each other at any point, I mean, we don't really know who we are anymore. We have gone so far away from each other that once we come back to that center, it's like, I don't know you, right? So if you say something that's unfavorable, that goes against what I believe, okay, well, now I got beef with you because this feels real personal, right? You're coming at me.
Do you think that I heard this Hungarian president talking, and he was saying that he doesn't want any more immigrants in his country, basically. He's part of the EU, and like the EU's been taking immigrants from these war-torn, like Middle Eastern, African countries that have a lot of wars and a lot of refugees. So they're taking them in, and the Hungarian president is basically saying, look, y'all can do that. If you want to be a multicultural nation and society, do that. We want to keep our homogenous, Christian identity as a Hungarian Christian, history, culture, all that stuff. We want that to stay the same. We don't want it being changed by refugees, basically, other cultures.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think that, if we're really going to solve the problems of tomorrow, we have to have as many different perspectives as possible, which is why I'm a fan of diversity. But diversity does not just mean people of color and women. You know what I mean? It means everybody, right? Even people that you really disagree with, that you hate what they stand for. Hate it came out. Yeah. People that you don't like what they stand for, you don't like what they say, but I'm still gonna hear what you have to say because that's your right. Mm-hmm. So as I build all that up to ask you, is it which one do you lean towards, right? Homogenous, clear identity, or a diverse, multicultural thing? Because you can still have good values either way. But like, which one do you think is a more prosperous / effective way of having a nation?
I think the more effective way, at least now, and I'm not saying this can't change in the future, but I think the most effective way now is limited diversity. Simply because these people are so alike, so their values are very, very similar. Mm-hmm. So, like the idea of spreading love to each other, the idea of collaborating, it's a lot easier to digest. It's a lot easier to put that forth because there's not so many differing opinions or lifestyles or cultures mingling with each other. Now, ideally, I would like diversity, but I feel like, especially in the United States, it's not implemented quote unquote properly. I think that the United States sucks up to everyone who has a new feeling where it's like, okay, we want to be nice and we want to portray to the world that we're diverse and that everyone is welcome and all these things like that. But once again, freedom without boundaries and without structure is chaos. If you just open the doors and just let everyone in and you're creating chaos. We have no sense of identity. You can have identity within diversity, but we have not identified what that identity is. We just say, hey, come on over because we want to be nice and we want to adhere to everyone's feelings or whatnot. But
freedom without boundaries is chaos.
Yeah.
But freedom without diversity is exclusion.
Interesting. How so?
Because if you're not allowing everyone to experience the freedom to be themselves, they aren't truly free. So then you're excluding them from what you're experiencing as freedom.
I can see that. I think that does that still apply if a culture has never been diverse? Like if this culture has been what they have been throughout like time, or is their desire to remain that way, is that still exclusive to anyone else who might want to come in?
I think it has to be.
Okay.
Because you're actively preventing them from coming, right? Because you're not giving them a chance. I'm not saying like, hey, you have to give up everything you've been through in your past.
Yeah. But
to be inclusive and diverse, the trade-off is you're going to lose some of what you were.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a lot of people, and I would understand somebody was like, I'm not cool with that. I don't want things to change. I understand that too. That's your choice. Me, I think that you get a lot more out of life when you allow other people to live in it.
Yeah.
Regardless of like what they may look like or sound like or act like. Now, me personally, there's some people I don't really like hanging out around. Sometimes people I don't like hanging out around. That's fine. Like, you know, if you're annoying, bro, or like, we're not going to get into the other conversation we had earlier. Those kind of people as well. Like, I don't want you in my inner circle as much because I think you're a net negative. But as long as you're adding value, then there's no reason why we should draw a circle around what we have and say that if you don't fit what's already within the circle, you can't get what we got.
Yeah.
This is only for us.
Yeah.
Right? And it's tough though, man. That's basically what a nation is, right?
Yeah, man. I mean,
United States they drew fucking lines on a map and said, "This is ours. Yeah. You have yours. This is our shit. Stay out."
Yeah.
That's what it is, bro.
Basically.
And like you said, you need the boundaries. You have to have some sort of sense of, okay, who are we? What are we doing?
Yeah.
But when you close yourself off, you're asking for the hatred because now it's like I want that. You won't let me have it, or you're trying to be different over there. I don't like you being different because now you're making my kid want to be different. Yeah. So you stop being different. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like these things they're intertwined.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything that's put forth, it needs to be explicitly defined, right? Like there's so much subjectivity. So like the value that someone can bring or a culture or a group of people can bring to a culture is subjective, and it's problematic to that established culture if their value is not defined. So if you have a nation who is rooted in their ideology and they, you know, kind of all look the same and they have like the same religion, they speak the same language, all those things like that, like they have a defined idea of who they are, and anybody else that is brought in that is different from them, it becomes problematic if it's just, hey, come in so you can just be a part of this and we don't want to be labeled as exclusive. When that person comes in, or when that group comes in, especially with established societies, their value, what they bring to the table, and how their diversity can improve like this country in any way, shape, or form, that needs to be defined. And maybe it's not as cut and dry as, hey, let's go sit at a table and let's tell me how you can improve our nation, right?
Yeah,
but that's like, people need to work together. They need to be open to new ideas. They need to be open to hearing people out, because we don't have anything we have very little defined in this country. That's why it seems so chaotic, right? And we scoff at other countries because they want to adhere to their religious values or their traditionalism, but at least what they can say is they know who they are. Regardless of if we agree or disagree with it or not, they know who they are. They have their ideology and they're strict on it. They are firm on it. Hey, no rainbow shirts in this arena. If you don't like it, then get out. And we can look at it and say, oh my goodness, you guys are so, like ancient and you're not progressive and that's oppressive or whatnot. They're going to look at it and say, whatever, these are our values and that's how we want it to be.
Yeah. They also don't let women have like rights and shit too.
Yeah. So there's problems with it. Yeah. There's definitely, it's not just because you have defined values doesn't mean that every aspect of it is ideal.
There's pros to it for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a reason why they're able to like, you make a really good point here. When you don't have confusion as what you are, you can make decisions much faster.
Yeah. Like we have pros and cons here, right? I mean, ideally we're moving in a direction where we like to have everyone be respected, right? And have everyone have rights. But once again, we're so random and haphazard with how we operate that it just seems like there are no structures or boundaries on our society at all. So as that increases, as that progresses, I mean, there's a lot of issues that can come with that, right? So there's pros and cons to everything. But at least what those other countries can say that we can't is that they are defined in who they are. So it's a lot easier, at least in my opinion, for them to have discourse with others who are amongst them. So they move the country in a unified direction. And then if others come in, they're so structured that they can have discourse with these people in a more civil way than maybe we could, right? We look at another group of people, and depending on who it is, we might scoff at them, right? Because like I said, we're so disconnected. We don't know how to interact with other people. Like I said, I see all, like, even like, man, it just goes on and on, right? There's so many examples, so it's hard to name one, but we're not unified at all. So, like, bringing it back full circle, like I said, this whole reparations thing, there's merit to it, right? I'm not saying it's not, but no one is going to come to the table and say, hey, let's put our egos at the door. Let's ensure that we're not self-absorbed, and let me see where you're coming from, right? Because black people, they have their stance. But then there's a bunch of white people who are going to say, well, we did not do anything to you. And although, I mean, they are descendants of people who did something.
Yeah, what's the response to that? Because that's facts. I mean, they didn't do anything.
But
did they benefit from it, though? Did they benefit from it?
And that's the thing, is you got to come to the table and you have to talk that out. Is, yes, do they benefit from it? Okay, how? How is it? How is them bending for it? How do they benefit from it? And how is that detrimental to this person? Those conversations need to be had.
And who benefited from it? It wasn't all white people that benefited.
Exactly.
Maybe you did. Maybe you weren't a victim like black people were, but you weren't necessarily a beneficiary. You were like a bystander.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like, how do you go back through history and try and weigh the scales of morality to make a better outcome today? How do you do that? You know, it's not an easy thing. Yeah. It really is. It's a tough conversation.
No, definitely.
Because you're getting, but the good thing is you're getting to the root of the problem. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Literally what you just said, conversation. What we're doing right here, this is the root of it, right?
Yeah.
People are losing this concept of talking it out, right? Like we have to talk to each other. We got to be able to connect with each other. Like, I empathize with black people who desire reparations. I do, but I also empathize with white people who say, I didn't do anything. So why am I kind of being looked at as a villain directly or indirectly? Why am I not, like, all these things, right? Like, I empathize with all of these people. And if you can get that idea or that concept to the masses, it's a lot easier to come to the table and say, okay, let's figure it out. We might not figure it out today or tomorrow or the next month, but at least we're trying. We're going to play the game. We're going to make you guys all hate each other, and we're going to sit back and we're going to watch you guys implode on each other.
But the people need that. The people, it's messed up that the people need a villain.
Yeah.
What, you ever read a story that didn't have a villain in it? Have you ever saw a movie that didn't have a villain in it? A play, anything? Yeah. A day in your life that there wasn't somebody that, like, I didn't like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
there's got to be an antagonist somewhere.
There's always an antagonist, and you know, I mentioned this one time before, like, you know, sometimes you're the villain in somebody's story and then he's the villain in your story, or like I'm the villain in your story. It's all the perspective change, right? And it's very interesting to see if we'll ever be able to overcome the black and white villain victim narrative.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're the villain, that means somebody has to be the hero.
Yeah.
Right? And somebody has to be the victim.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, okay, if we ever fucking destroy the Matrix and look up, we'll see who the real villain is.
Yeah, exactly.
But until that day comes, we'll keep fighting each other, throwing rocks while they're building castles.
Straight up, bro.
Crazy.
Poetic, man.
Got on, bro.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's as simple as that. And, I mean, once people figure that out, once the smoke clears and they see it, I mean, then it's game time, right?
You know, that's how revolutions happen.
Yeah, man. So,
real talk.
At this point, like I said, my optimism tells me it's not a matter of if, but when, right? And hopefully it's sooner rather than later, right? This is a large country. It's a lot of people and it's a lot of baggage. But, I mean, time's going to keep going. The world's going to be turning. You can't just sit up and throw your hands up and just be like, we got to move forward.
Time to act. Do something.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, that's literally it. There's no science to it. There's no I don't know. There's no equation that needs to be solved. There's no complicating it, right? Just do. It's as simple as that. So,
right. For facts. So facts, bro.
So
that's valid, man.
Hell yeah, man. I think we got it.
Feel good there? Yeah, that too.
I think we got it.
Most def.
Chilling.
Oh yeah.
Bam, bam.
Boom, boom, boom.
Hell yeah.
You know, we never did like an intro, like saying what this was gonna be now and like how it's gonna be different now.
Yeah,
perhaps.
I think that we should start. I think we should probably do that. I've never like thought about like a intro, so I might need some assistance on that.
Hell yeah.
So, but
yeah,
like,
because like you have an audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People watch your shit, so it's like, who's this guy that's coming on the song? Right? Why is he saying things I don't agree with?
I swear.